Are you in the market to buy a house this year? Well, if you are, do you know what questions to ask the seller? Well, in this video, we're going to go over the questions that you need to ask as a buyer to ask the seller to make sure that you get everything that you're looking for. So let's get started. So obviously, one question you need to ask the sellers are how old the roof is. Now, usually about 10 years is going to be the breaking point for most roofs. There's 30-year shingles, there's architectural shingles, but usually people start getting a little bit antsy about the 10-year mark. If the roof is over 10 years, then you really want to look at it closely. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with a roof that's over 10 years, but it warrants taking a little bit closer look and making sure that everything is okay. If you have any issues like nails backing out, or there's a lot of streaks in it from heavy rains, then that could mean that the asphalt, the granulars that make up the shingles, are starting to come off. Then it might be something that you want to be aware of and see if you can negotiate getting the roof replaced. Now, of course, with something like this one, the lines are straight, all the shingles are flat, and everything's a uniform color. So this roof is pretty good. And I know that because it's only 3 years old. Now, the air conditioner is going to be another big ticket item you're going to want to find out about. If the air conditioner is been serviced, if so, how long ago was it serviced last time? And who was it that did the servicing? If they've got a contract with a certain contractor or vendor doing AC servicing, then it might be cheaper for you to just continue doing the contract with that company to keep the maintenance up on the air conditioning system. Now, a good air conditioner that's well maintained can stay running excellent for up to 15 or maybe 20 years. I've got a rental property that's got a 22-year-old air conditioner system. The tenant changes out the air filter like it's supposed to be. I get it serviced every year like it's supposed to be, and it just keeps on plugging along. With that being said, if you're buying a house, of course you don't know anything about it, you might want to find out how old the air conditioner is, and if it's over 10 years old, then you definitely want to do a little bit more investigation and see what the condition of the air conditioner is like. Have they been servicing it every year? Have they been changing out the air filter? Now, here's a little bonus tip. When you order your home inspection, the inspector is going to turn it on for heat. He's going to check it and make sure it heats up. He's going to turn it on for air conditioning. He's going to make sure that it cools down. But that's all he's going to do. He's not going to get deep into the nuances. So if the air conditioner is older than 10 years and it kind of makes you nervous, you want to feel better about buying the house, then go ahead and have an air conditioning service tech come out and run it through its paces and see how it is and let them give you a report. Yes, it may cost you a little bit of extra money, but would you rather spend a couple $100s now or a whole new air conditioning system for $10,000 later? Another question you might want to ask the seller, do you have any drainage issues? Because when it rains, if the water collects around the house, when it washes away, it's going to take dirt with it. And the erosion is eventually going to wash away the foundation, and it can cause some problems later, some expensive problems. Now, for example, this one right here, the driveway is concrete and it goes all the way up to the house. So it doesn't matter how hard it rains, this thing is not going to get washed away. So this is a good example of erosion control. So find out, and if you have to, this is one trick that I always tell my clients. Go out to the house that you're interested in while it's raining. If you've got a lot of water that's building up somewhere, if it's out in the yard, no big deal. But if it's building up around the house, or if it looks like a river running through it, then you know ahead of time that that might be an issue you're going to have to contend with if you buy the house. Now, another question you might want to ask the sellers, was this house their personal house or was it a rental property? The reason that you're asking that is because, for better or for worse, people that are renting tend not to take care of a house nearly as good as somebody that owns it themselves. It's that pride and ownership thing. So if it was a rental property, ask them, was it a long-term rental or was it a short-term rental? Why does it make a difference? Well, because if the house was a long-term rental, then they were here for a couple years, possibly, and they got complacent. For better or for worse, again, it may be that they didn't take care of the house as well as they could have. Now, if it was a short-term rental, that means that the owner furnish the house, they maintain the yard, they maintain the utilities, and they had to keep the house up because people were staying for a couple days to a week or so, and they were right back out again. So they would have to fix the house up, clean the house up, and get it ready for the next guest. With that being said, the owner is more likely to have his eyes on the property a whole lot more, see things that are wrong, and get them fixed. Because if it doesn't look good, he doesn't rent it. So that makes a difference. A short-term rental house is probably going to be in better condition even than his own house, because his own house isn't making him money. Another good question was, how long has it been empty? If it's been empty for a long time, well, things can start drying up and, dry rotting and breaking. I wouldn't be too worried about it if it's 6 months or less. But if it's been over 6 months, then that's probably a good chance you want to look a little harder at everything. Now again, if the house happened to be a rental property, another good question to ask them, how many tenants did they have over the course of it being a rental property? If you had 5 years as a rental property and you had 5 tenants, that means they had to change tenants about every year. Was that because he just didn't care and he just put anybody in the house? Or was it because they didn't like him and they kept moving out of the house? So there's usually a reason that people don't want to stay. That might be warranting you to look a little bit deeper into the house itself. Another good question to ask the seller, has the house been renovated? If it has, what all did they do to the house? Did they just give it a touch up? Did they paint the whole house? Did they change out the flooring? Did they update the kitchen? Did they update the bathroom? Sometimes they do updates and you can't really tell it, but it's worth the ask. Even if you don't know for sure, or even if it's obvious, go ahead and ask them anyway, because you'd probably be surprised what you'll find out. Now, keep in mind, usually people that are buying a house like you are going to be working with a real estate agent. So make sure to write these questions down so they can ask for you and get the answer and bring it back to you so you'll have the information. And while we're on the subject of drainage, go ahead and ask them about the plumbing. Had they had any issues with the plumbing? Had there been any pipes burst? When was the last time the plumbing was updated? Now, older houses like this one could have anything from galvanized pipe, copper lines, or even PVC. Now, if it's a newer house, chances are they're probably using PEX. So even if it's a newer house, go ahead and ask the question anyway, because it's good information to have. Now, even though you're going to be living in the house and you're going to be coming in and out of this one little lot, you're also going to be dealing with neighbors. So another good question to ask the seller is, how's the neighborhood? What kind of people are in the neighborhood? Yes, I know this is getting into a little bit of code violation or ethics violations, but some people want to know who it is that they're around. If you're in a neighborhood that has a lot of crime, the neighbor's going to tell you about that. The seller's going to tell you about that. If you're in a neighborhood that has high crime rate, or if it's in a neighborhood that has no kids and you have a family, well, if you want the kids to have somebody to play with, that might be a consideration if there's no other kids around. Now, also as another option, you can always go online. There's always crime reports for given cities and given areas that will show you some kind of a heat map to give you an idea on the hot spots where crime is. So if the house that you're looking at is in one of those hot spots, you'll know before you make an offer. Now, one more bonus, and I'll go ahead and give you now. Most people aren't going to tell you to do this because, well, people are shy. Don't be afraid to go knock on the doors next door, across the street, and say, hey, I'm considering buying this house. What can you tell me about the neighborhood? Neighbors will tell you a whole lot about what's going on in the neighborhood, the local rumor mills, who the house belonged to before, what's getting ready to happen, and any city plans that are going on in the neighborhood, stuff that you're not going to find on Zillow or Google or any of that stuff. So go knock on somebody's door and just say, hey, I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm considering buying this house over here. What can you tell me about it? Or what can you tell me about the neighborhood? What kind of people are around here? How loud is it? Are there, punk kids that are racing up and down the street with loud music? If there's a lot of that going on, maybe they'll tell you, maybe they won't. But you can always follow up with a little trick that I like to do. Stop out here on a Friday night or a Saturday night. Drive around the neighborhood and see what's going on. Friday night and Saturday night are going to be the days when you're going to see what's really going on in the neighborhood. And it'll tell the story about whether it's a place that you want to live or not. Well, that's a rundown on the questions you need to be asking as a buyer to the seller if you're considering buying a house this year. Now look at this video right here and it'll give you more information about the real estate market in Warner Robins. And if you need any help with real estate in the Middle Georgia area, make sure to reach out to me. My contact information is in the description below, and I'll talk to you on the next video.